first contact, and unexpected laughter. The vast expanse of space had always beckoned humanity, a siren call that whispered of adventure and discovery. For centuries, humans had gazed at the stars, wondering what secrets they held. Now, as the United Earth Space Fleet ventured beyond the solar system, those secrets were about to be unveiled in ways no one could have predicted. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel. Her dark eyes scanned the holographic displays surrounding her, each one a window into the unknown. The ship had been traversing uncharted space for months, pushing the boundaries of human exploration farther than ever before. "Captain," Lieutenant Rodriguez called out, his voice tinged with excitement. "We're picking up some unusual readings. It looks like a massive structure in orbit around the gas giant ahead." Chen's heart raced. This was it, the moment every explorer dreamed of. "On screen," she ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that took their breath away. A colossal space station hung in the void, its sleek metallic surface gleaming in the light of the distant star. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, a marvel of engineering that dwarfed even their most ambitious projects. "My God," Chen whispered, "it's beautiful." As they watched in awe, smaller vessels began to emerge from the station, their designs as alien as the structure itself. Chen knew that this moment would change everything. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. "Open a channel," she commanded. "Let's introduce ourselves." But before they could transmit their carefully crafted first contact message, a booming voice filled the bridge, speaking in perfect English. "Attention, primitive vessel. You have entered the territory of the Galactic Empire. Prepare to be boarded and assessed for integration or termination." Chen blinked, caught off guard by both the casual use of their language and the imperious tone. She glanced at her crew, seeing a mix of confusion and indignation on their faces. This was not how they had imagined first contact. "I'm sorry," Chen replied, unable to keep a hint of sarcasm from her voice. "I think there's been a misunderstanding. We're not here to be integrated or terminated. We're explorers from Earth, and we'd like to establish peaceful communication." There was a pause, and Chen could almost imagine the confusion on the alien faces. When the voice spoke again, it was laced with barely contained irritation. "Your desires are irrelevant. The Galactic Empire has ruled this sector for millennia. You will submit, or you will be destroyed. You have one planetary rotation to decide." The communication cut off abruptly, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Chen looked around at her crew, seeing the weight of the situation settling on their shoulders. But then, something unexpected happened. Lieutenant Rodriguez snorted, a grin spreading across his face. "Well, someone woke up on the wrong side of the galaxy this morning." A chuckle rippled through the bridge, breaking the tension. Chen felt a smile tugging at her own lips. "I guess the Galactic Empire skipped the chapter on diplomatic relations," she quipped. As the laughter grew, Chen realized that this uniquely human response, finding humor in the face of adversity, might be their greatest asset. The Galactic Empire, for all its supposed power, clearly didn't know what to make of them. "All right, people," Chen called out, her voice filled with newfound determination. "Let's show these emperors what humanity is really made of. Rodriguez, start analyzing their technology. Williams, I want defensive options. And someone get me a cup of coffee. I have a feeling we're in for a long day." The crew sprang into action, their earlier fear replaced by a mixture of excitement and defiance. As Chen watched them work, she couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Humanity had faced countless challenges throughout its history, and each time they had emerged stronger. This would be no different. Over the next few hours, the UES horizon buzzed with activity. Engineers pored over the scans of the alien technology, marveling at its sophistication, but also identifying potential weaknesses. The tactical team ran simulations, devising strategies that relied on speed and unpredictability rather than brute force. As the deadline approached, Chen gathered her senior staff for a final briefing. "All right, here's the situation," she began. "We're outgunned and outnumbered, facing an enemy that thinks they've already won. But we have something they don't: the element of surprise. They expect us to either cower in fear or charge in blindly. We're going to do neither." She laid out the plan, a daring strategy that combined technological ingenuity with good old-fashioned human audacity. As she spoke, she saw the spark of excitement in her crew's eyes. They knew the odds were against them, but there was no trace of defeat in their expressions. When the Galactic Empire hailed them again, Chen was ready. The alien commander appeared on screen, his features vaguely humanoid but with iridescent scales and multiple eyes that blinked in unsettling patterns. "Your time has expired," the alien announced. "What is your decision?" Chen stepped forward, a mischievous glint in her eye. "We've discussed your generous offer," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm, "and we've decided to propose an alternative. How about you turn your ships around, go back to whatever corner of the galaxy you came from, and we'll forget this whole embarrassing incident ever happened." The alien's eyes blinked rapidly, clearly struggling to process this unexpected response. You dare mock the Galactic Empire?" he sputtered. "Mock? No," Chen replied with feigned innocence. "We're just trying to save you from making a terrible mistake. You see, we humans have a bit of a reputation for being, how shall I put this, incredibly stubborn and surprisingly resourceful. Are you sure you want to start something you might not be able to finish?" The alien commander's face contorted with rage. "Insolent primitives. You will learn respect through fire and pain. Prepare to be annihilated." As the transmission cut off, Chen turned to her crew with a grin. "Well, folks, I think we've successfully pissed them off. Let's make them regret it." The next few minutes were a flurry of activity as the horizon prepared for battle. But this was no ordinary combat preparation. Engineers made last-minute adjustments to hastily retrofitted systems, while the tactical team finalized their unorthodox strategy. As the first wave of Imperial ships approached, Chen gave the order: "Execute Operation Flisswater." Suddenly, the space around the horizon erupted with what appeared to be a chaotic swarm of small objects. The Imperial ships, expecting a straightforward exchange of fire, found their sensors overwhelmed by the cloud of debris. But it wasn't debris at all. Hidden among the swarm were hundreds of miniature drones, each one carrying a payload of electromagnetic pulses and targeted jamming signals. As they impacted the Imperial ships, systems began to fail, shields flickered, and confusion reigned. "Now, Mr. Williams," Chen commanded, "show them our primitive weapons." The Horizon's main cannon fired, but instead of a conventional energy blast, it launched a concentrated burst of exotic particles, a technology reverse-engineered from the Empire's own shields. The beam punched through the weakened defenses of the lead Imperial ship, causing cascading failures throughout its systems. On the Imperial flagship, the commander watched in disbelief as his first wave of ships were thrown into disarray by an enemy they had dismissed as insignificant. "Impossible," he muttered. "How can they? What are these tactics?" Back on the horizon, Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction as she watched the Imperial formation break apart. "Send the message," she ordered. Across all frequencies in every language their linguists could decipher from the Imperial transmissions, a simple message was broadcast: "We tried to warn you. Still want to play?" As the Imperial ships regrouped, clearly preparing for a more serious assault, Chen knew that the real battle was just beginning. But she also knew that they had achieved something vital. They had shaken the Empire's confidence and shown them that humanity was not to be underestimated. "All hands," she called out, her voice filled with determination. "This is just the beginning. We've bloodied their nose, but now they'll come at us with everything they've got. But remember this, We are the descendants of those who looked at the impossible and said, "Watch us. We are humanity, and we do not go quietly. Stand firm, think creatively, and let's show the galaxy what we're made of." A cheer went up across the ship, a sound of defiance and hope that seemed to echo across the stars. As the Imperial fleet regrouped, preparing to unleash their full might, the crew of the UES Horizon stood ready, their spirits unbroken. The Galactic Empire had come expecting an easy conquest. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, a species whose potential they had gravely underestimated. As the next wave of battle approached, one thing was clear: the galaxy would never be the same again. The Empire strikes back. The initial skirmish had ended, but Captain Sarah Chen knew the real battle was just beginning. As the UES Horizon's crew worked feverishly to repair systems and replenish their unconventional arsenal, the vast Imperial fleet loomed in the distance, a testament to the overwhelming odds they faced. "Status report," Chen barked, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. Lieutenant Rodriguez's fingers danced across his console. "The good news is our fly-swatter drones did more damage than we anticipated. The bad news: they're adapting. Fast." Chen nodded grimly. They had bloodied the Empire's nose. But now the giant was angry. And a cornered beast was always the most dangerous. "Captain," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's the Secretary General of the United Nations." A ripple of excitement passed through the bridge. They weren't alone anymore. Humanity knew what they faced. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the weathered face of Secretary General Adebayo. His expression was a mixture of pride and concern. "Captain Chen, on behalf of Earth, I commend you and your crew for your bravery. Your actions have given us a fighting chance." Chen straightened, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "Thank you, sir. But I'm afraid we've only delayed the inevitable. The Empire's forces are vast." Adebayo's eyes hardened with determination. "Perhaps, but you've shown us their weaknesses. Every nation on Earth is now pooling its resources, adapting your tactics. We're sending reinforcements, but it will take time. You must hold the line, Captain. The fate of our species depends on it." As the transmission ended, Chen turned to her crew. She saw fear in their eyes, yes, but also a burning resolve. They were no longer just explorers. They were humanity's first line of defense. "All right, people," she announced, her voice steady and clear. "Earth is counting on us. Let's show this galactic empire why you should never underestimate humans. Rodriguez, I want every scrap of data we have on their tech. Williams, work with engineering to boost our defenses. And someone get me more coffee. This is going to be a long fight." The next few hours were a blur of activity. The Horizon's systems were pushed to their limits and beyond as the crew implemented one crazy idea after another. They didn't have the Empire's advanced technology, but they had something potentially more powerful: human ingenuity and the ability to think outside the box. As the Imperial fleet began its approach, Chen watched with a mixture of anxiety and anticipation. The enemy ships moved with a precision that spoke of centuries of military doctrine. But there was also a rigidity to their formations, a predictability that they hoped to exploit. "They're launching fighters," Rodriguez reported, his voice tense. Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Perfect. Initiate Operation Hornet's Nest." Suddenly, the space around the horizon erupted with what appeared to be a chaotic swarm of small objects, an upgraded version of their earlier drone tactic. But this time, mixed in with the swarm were hundreds of miniature fusion reactors, each one rigged to detonate in a spectacular but highly contained explosion. The Imperial fighters, expecting an easy target, flew right into the trap. Explosions blossomed in space, each one taking out several enemy craft. The carefully orchestrated Imperial formation began to break apart as fighters desperately tried to evade the unexpected minefield. On the Imperial flagship, Grand Admiral Zexlor watched in growing frustration as the humans once again defied expectations. Impossible, he growled, his scaled skin shifting colors with his anger. How can these primitives possess such weapons? But the Horizon's success was short-lived. The Empire's capital ships opened fire, their energy weapons cutting through space with devastating power. The human ship's shields buckled under the assault, alarms blaring across every deck. Shields at 30% and falling. Williams shouted over the noise. "We can't take much more of this." Chen gripped her command chair, her mind racing. They had hurt the Empire, yes, but now the full might of their technology was bearing down on them. It was time for their most desperate gambit. "Initiate Project Trojan," she ordered, her voice calm despite the chaos around her. Deep within the Horizon's engineering section, a device that had been cobbled together from a mixture of human and reverse-engineered Imperial tech hummed to life. It was a long shot, based on theoretical physics, and a whole lot of hope. Suddenly, the space around the Horizon seemed to ripple and distort. To the Imperial sensors, it appeared as if the human ship had suddenly multiplied, with dozens of identical vessels appearing out of nowhere. Grand Admiral Zexlor stared at his tactical display in disbelief. "What sorcery is this?" he demanded. But it wasn't sorcery. It was holography on a massive scale, combined with sensor ghosts and electromagnetic distortions. The Horizon hadn't actually duplicated itself. It had created an illusion so convincing that even the Empire's advanced systems couldn't tell the difference. As the Imperial fleet hesitated, confused by the sudden proliferation of targets, the real Horizon slipped through their lines, unleashing a barrage of unconventional weapons. Electromagnetic pulses, graviton beams, and exotic particle bursts. Each one designed to exploit weaknesses in the Empire's defenses that they had discovered during the first encounter. Imperial ships began to falter, their systems disrupted by attacks they had never anticipated. Zexlor watched in horror as vessel after vessel reported critical failures. "Impossible," he muttered again, but with less conviction this time. On the Horizon's bridge, the crew cheered as they saw the Imperial formation crumbling. But Chen knew they weren't out of danger yet. Their own systems were on the verge of collapse, strained beyond their design limits by the desperate tactics they had employed. "Ma'am," Rodriguez called out, his voice a mixture of excitement and disbelief. "I'm picking up new signatures approaching at high speed. It's the cavalry." Chen's heart leaped as she saw the readings for herself. A fleet of Earth ships, hastily upgraded with the lessons learned from the Horizon's first encounter, was arriving on the scene. They weren't as advanced as the Imperial vessels, but they were numerous, and they carried with them humanity's greatest weapons: adaptability and determination. As the human reinforcements engaged the confused and battered Imperial fleet, Shen allowed herself a moment of hope. They had done it. Against all odds, they had held the line. But even as she watched the battle turn in their favor, Chen knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would be back, and next time they wouldn't underestimate humanity. The real war was just beginning. "All hands," she called out, her voice filled with pride and resolve. "Prepare for Phase 2. It's time to take the fight to them." As the crew of the Horizon sprang into action, Chen gazed out at the stars. The galaxy had thought humans were just another primitive species to be conquered or ignored. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The Galactic Empire had started this war, but humanity would finish it, and when the dust settled, the stars themselves would know. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and they were here to stay. Human ingenuity unleashed. In the aftermath of their unexpected victory, Earth buzzed with a mixture of celebration and frantic preparation. The initial encounter with the Galactic Empire had been a wake-up call, a glimpse into a universe far more vast and dangerous than humanity had ever imagined. But it had also ignited a spark of innovation and determination that spread like wildfire across the planet. Captain Sarah Chen stood in the newly constructed war room of the United Earth Defense Force, her eyes scanning the holographic displays that showed the ongoing efforts to fortify Earth and its colonies. The room was a hive of activity, with scientists, engineers, and military strategists from every nation working side by side. "Captain Chen," the voice called out. She turned to see Dr. Yuki Tanaka, Earth's leading genotechnologist, approaching with an excited gleam in her eyes. "You need to see this." Dr. Tanaka led Chen to a secure laboratory, where a team of scientists huddled around what appeared to be the remnants of an Imperial fighter. "We've made a breakthrough," Tanaka explained, her voice brimming with excitement. "The Empire's technology isn't as incomprehensible as we first thought. In fact, in some ways, it's almost familiar." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Familiar? How so?" Tanaka gestured to the disassembled components. "Their FTL drive. It's based on principles similar to our theoretical work on Alcubierre warp bubbles. Their energy weapons. Advanced, yes, but not too dissimilar from our own plasma research. It's as if they stopped innovating." Chen finished, the implications dawning on her. "They found something that worked and stuck with it for millennia." Tanaka nodded vigorously. "Exactly. And that's our advantage. We might be behind in raw technology, but our approach to problem solving, our ability to think laterally and adapt, that's something the Empire seems to have lost." Over the next few weeks, Earth's finest minds worked tirelessly, reverse engineering Imperial tech and combining it with human innovation in ways the Empire had never considered. The results were nothing short of revolutionary. In a massive underground facility, Chen watched as the first prototype of Earth's new hybrid warship took shape. It was a marvel of engineering, combining the best of human and Imperial technology with a distinctly human flair for the unconventional. "We're calling it the Phoenix class," explained Admiral Corey, the project overseer. "Faster than anything in our previous fleet, with shields that can withstand sustained Imperial fire. But here's the kicker." He pressed a button, and suddenly the ship seemed to shimmer and disappear. "Adaptive camouflage," Corey said with a grin. "Based on the same principles as your Trojan horse trick, but refined and perfected. The Empire won't know what hit them." But it wasn't just military technology that was advancing by leaps and bounds. The influx of new scientific knowledge was revolutionizing every field, from medicine to agriculture to energy production. Solutions to problems that had plagued humanity for centuries were suddenly within reach. In a medical lab in Nairobi, Chen witnessed a demonstration of nanobots based on Imperial medical tech, but reprogrammed with a uniquely human touch. "They can cure diseases we thought incurable," the lead researcher explained, her eyes shining. "But more than that, they can adapt on the fly, tackling new pathogens in ways even their creators didn't anticipate." As promising as these advancements were, Chen knew they were racing against time. The Empire would return, and in greater numbers. Earth needed to be ready. In orbit around Mars, a massive space station was taking shape, the first of many. It would serve as a forward operating base, a shipyard, and a research facility all in one. Chen stood in the observation deck, watching as swarms of construction drones worked tirelessly. "Impressive, isn't it?" a voice said behind her. Chen turned to see Secretary General Adebayo, his face etched with a mixture of pride and concern. "In just a few months, we've advanced more than we had in decades. But will it be enough?" Chen's gaze returned to the vista before her. "It has to be," she said firmly. "But our technology isn't our greatest strength, sir. It's our spirit, our refusal to give up, our ability to find hope even in the darkest times. That's what the Empire doesn't understand, and that's what will win this war." Adebayo nodded solemnly. "Well said, Captain, which is why I'm here. We're assembling a task force for a bold mission, and I want you to lead it." Chen's pulse quickened. "What kind of mission?" "Intelligence suggests the Empire is massing for a major offensive. We need to buy more time. And to do that, we need to take the fight to them. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to lead a strike team deep into Imperial territory. For a moment, Chen was speechless. The audacity of the plan was breathtaking. To strike at the heart of an empire that spanned the stars. It was either brilliance or madness. Perhaps both. "It's a suicide mission," she said quietly. Adebayo's eyes met hers, unwavering. "Perhaps, but if it succeeds, it could change the course of the war. We need to show the Empire, and the rest of the galaxy, that humanity is not just going to roll over and die. We're going to fight, and we're going to win." Chen took a deep breath, her mind racing with the possibilities and the dangers. But in her heart, she already knew her answer. This was what she had trained for, what she had dreamed of since she first looked up at the stars as a child. "When do we leave?" she asked, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Adebayo matched her smile with one of his own. "That's the spirit. Report to the Phoenix tomorrow, at 800. And Captain, good hunting." As Chen left the observation deck, her mind was already whirling with plans and strategies. The Empire thought they had humanity figured out, thought they could crush them with superior numbers and firepower. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Humanity had spent its entire history fighting against the odds, overcoming challenges that should have been impossible. Now, faced with the greatest threat they had ever encountered, they were not cowering in fear. They were rising to the occasion, their ingenuity and determination burning brighter than ever. The Galactic Empire had awakened a sleeping giant, and as Chen prepared for the mission that could decide the fate of her species, she felt a fierce pride in her fellow humans. They had looked into the face of annihilation and laughed. They had taken the Empire's technology and improved upon it in ways its creators had never imagined. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humanity could really do. The Empire had started this war, but humanity would end it. And when the dust settled, the stars themselves would know. Earth was not just another world to be conquered. It was the home of a species that refused to be broken, that would fight with every ounce of their being to secure their place among the stars. As the Earth grew small behind her, Chen felt a sense of anticipation building. The greatest adventure in human history was about to begin, and she was going to be right at the forefront. The Empire thought they were dealing with primitives. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The age of humanity had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The battle for Earth. The vast emptiness of space was shattered by the arrival of the Imperial Armada. Thousands of ships, each one a testament to the Empire's technological might, dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Their target, a small blue planet that had dared to defy the will of the Galactic Empire. On the bridge of the INS Eternal Dominion, Grand Admiral Zexlor allowed himself a small smile of satisfaction. This time, there would be no mistakes. This time, the full might of the Empire would crush these upstart humans once and for all. "My lord," his second-in-command reported, "the human defenses are unusual. They appear to be much more advanced than our initial reports suggested." Zexlor's smile faded. "It matters not," he growled. "No primitive species can stand against the full power of the Empire." Commence the attack. As the Imperial fleet moved into formation, the defenders of Earth prepared for the fight of their lives. In orbit around the planet, a network of space stations and satellites hummed with energy, their weapons primed and ready. On the surface, billions of humans watched the skies, their hearts filled with a mixture of fear and determination. In the command center of Earth's primary defense platform, Captain Sarah Chen stood at the helm, her eyes fixed on the tactical displays. The mission deep into Imperial territory had been a success, providing crucial intelligence and buying Earth precious time to prepare. Now, it all came down to this. "All stations report ready, Captain," her XO announced. Chen nodded, her face a mask of calm determination. "Then let's give them a welcoming party they'll never forget. Initiate Operation Thunderbolt." Across Earth's orbital defenses, a new type of weapon powered up. based on Imperial technology, but radically redesigned by human engineers. These graviton cannons were about to demonstrate the full extent of human ingenuity. As the first wave of Imperial ships entered range, the graviton cannons fired. Beams of concentrated gravitational force lanced out, warping space itself around the enemy vessels. Ships that moments ago had been the pride of the Imperial fleet were now twisted and broken, their hulls crumpled like tin cans. On the Eternal Dominion, Zexlor watched in disbelief as a full quarter of his vanguard was wiped out in seconds. "Impossible," he muttered, his scales shifting color in agitation. "All ships, evasive maneuvers. Launch all fighters." The space around Earth erupted into chaos as thousands of Imperial fighters swarmed towards the planet. But humanity was ready. From concealed hangars on the Moon and in Earth's orbit, squadrons of Earth's new hybrid fighters launched to meet them. At the controls of the lead fighter, callsign Phoenix 1, Chen's old friend Lieutenant Rodriguez grinned fiercely. "All right, Earth Wolves," he called out to his squadron. "Let's show these Imperial lapdogs how real pilots fly." What followed was a dogfight unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The human fighters, combining Imperial tech with human design philosophy, danced through space with impossible agility. They used maneuvers that no sane pilot would attempt, pushing the boundaries of their machines and the laws of physics themselves. Imperial pilots, trained in rigid formations and textbook maneuvers, found themselves outclassed at every turn. Rodriguez whooped with joy as he shot down his fifth enemy fighter in as many minutes. "Come on, you alien bastards. Is that the best you've got?" But for all their skill and advanced technology, the defenders of Earth were still vastly outnumbered. As the battle raged on, more and more Imperial ships broke through the outer defenses, pushing ever closer to the planet. In the command center, Chen watched the tactical displays with growing concern. They were bloodying the Empire's nose, yes, but at a terrible cost. "We need to change the game," she muttered. Then, louder, "Get me a direct line to the Phoenix." Moments later, the prototype warship that had been the flagship of humanity's covert mission shimmered into visibility at the heart of the Imperial formation. Its captain, a grizzled veteran named Hassan, appeared on Chen's screen. "Reporting as ordered, Captain. We're in position." Chen's eyes gleamed with determination. "Execute Operation Singularity." Hassan nodded grimly. "Understood. It's been an honor, Captain." Hassan out. As the transmission cut off, Chen closed her eyes for a moment. The price of victory would be high, but the alternative was unthinkable. At the heart of the Imperial fleet, the Phoenix's engines flared to life. But instead of conventional thrust, they began to generate a gravitational field of impossible strength. The ship's hull groaned under the strain as it channeled more and more power into this suicidal gambit. Zexlor, realizing too late the danger, barked orders to destroy the human vessel. But it was already too late. With a final, blinding flash, the Phoenix collapsed in on itself, creating a short-lived but enormously powerful artificial singularity. The effect was catastrophic. Hundreds of Imperial ships, caught in the gravitational maelstrom, were torn apart or crushed into oblivion. The carefully orchestrated Imperial formation was shattered, leaving the surviving ships in disarray. Seizing the moment, Chen ordered a full counterattack. Earth's remaining defenses roared to life, pouring fire into the disorganized Imperial fleet. On the surface, ground-based weapons that had been carefully hidden until this moment revealed themselves, launching salvos of missiles and energy beams into orbit. As the tide of battle turned, Zexlor stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. How could this be happening? How could a primitive species on the edge of the galaxy be defeating the mightiest military force in known space? But defeat them they had. As the hours wore on, more and more Imperial ships either fled or surrendered. The invasion, which was supposed to be a swift and decisive victory for the Empire, had turned into a humiliating rout. As the last Imperial ship disappeared into hyperspace, a cheer went up across Earth's defenses. They had done it. Against all odds, Humanity had stood against the full might of the Galactic Empire and emerged victorious. In the command center, Chen allowed herself a small smile of triumph. But she knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would be back, and next time they would be even more desperate, even more ruthless. But as she looked at the faces of her crew, saw the determination and pride shining in their eyes, she knew that humanity was ready. They had faced the greatest threat in their history, and not only survived but thrived. They had taken the best technology the galaxy had to offer and improved upon it in ways its creators had never imagined. The battle for Earth was over, but the war for humanity's place in the galaxy was just beginning. And as Chen gazed out at the stars, she felt a fierce pride in her species. The galaxy had thought them primitives, easy prey for conquest. Instead, they had proven themselves to be innovators, warriors, and survivors. The age of humanity had truly begun, and the universe would never be the same. A new galactic order. The dust of battle had settled, but the echoes of humanity's victory reverberated across the galaxy. In the span of a few short years, a species that had been dismissed as primitive had shaken the foundations of the mightiest empire the universe had ever known. On Earth, the celebrations had given way to a frenzy of activity. The planet was no longer just a hidden gem in the cosmic backwater. It was now the focal point of a rapidly changing galactic landscape. Captain Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood in the newly constructed Galactic Assembly Hall in Geneva. The cavernous room buzzed with activity as representatives from dozens of alien species mingled, their translator devices creating a cacophony of languages. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" a voice said beside her. Chen turned to see Secretary General Adebayo, a weary but satisfied smile on his face. Chen nodded, her eyes scanning the diverse crowd. "If someone had told me 5 years ago that we'd be hosting a galactic conference on Earth, I'd have thought they were crazy." Adebayo chuckled. "The galaxy is full of surprises, it seems, and humanity, as it turns out, is the biggest surprise of all." As they watched, a tall, willowy alien with iridescent skin approached them. Chen recognized her as Ambassador Zira of the Arcturian Confederation, one of the first alien nations to reach out to Earth after news of their victory spread. Admiral Chen, Secretary General, Zira greeted them, her translator rendering her musical language into crisp English. "I must once again express my people's admiration for your species. You have accomplished in years what many civilizations failed to do in millennia." Chen smiled diplomatically. "We appreciate your kind words, Ambassador, but we're under no illusions. We know that we've made powerful enemies. The Empire may be in disarray, but they're far from defeated." Zira's expression turned serious, which is why this alliance is so crucial. For too long, the Empire's grip on the galaxy has gone unchallenged. But now, thanks to Earth's example, worlds that once lived in fear are finding the courage to stand up. As if to underscore her point, a commotion near the entrance drew their attention. A group of aliens that Chen recognized as former Imperial citizens was entering, their expressions a mixture of nervousness and hope. "The first wave of defectors," Adebayo murmured. "Scientists, engineers, even a few military officers, all seeking asylum and offering their knowledge in return." Chen watched them with a mixture of sympathy and caution. The information these defectors brought could be invaluable, but integrating them would be a delicate process. As the conference officially began, Chen found herself marveling at the rapid pace of change. Humanity, once isolated and ignorant of galactic affairs, was now at the center of a new coalition. The technology and tactics that had allowed them to defeat the Empire were now being shared and adapted by their allies. But it wasn't just military matters being discussed. In breakout sessions across the conference center, humans and aliens alike were tackling everything from faster-than-light communication networks to galactic environmental concerns. In one room, Dr. Yuki Tanaka was presenting Earth's breakthroughs in medical nanobots to a captivated audience of alien physicians. In another, A team of human and Arcturian engineers were excitedly discussing the possibilities of combining their species' unique approaches to space station design. As the day wore on, Chen found herself in a high-level strategic meeting. Holographic displays showed the current state of the galaxy, with the once solid imperial territories now a patchwork of rebellion and uncertainty. The Empire is fracturing, General Okoi, Earth's top military strategist, explained. But that doesn't mean our fight is over. If anything, the power vacuum could lead to even more chaos. An alien representative, a gruff-looking being with rocky skin, spoke up. Then we must be prepared to fill that vacuum, not as conquerors, but as peacekeepers. The discussion that followed was intense, with debates ranging from the ethical use of advanced weapons to the challenges of governing a multi-species alliance. Through it all, Chen was struck by how quickly humanity had adapted to its new role on the galactic stage. As the conference neared its end, Chen was called upon to give a closing speech. Standing at the podium, looking out at the diverse assembly of species, she felt the weight of the moment. Distinguished representatives, honored guests, she began, her voice clear and strong. A few years ago, humanity looked up at the stars and wondered if we were alone. Today, we stand united with beings from across the galaxy, facing challenges and opportunities we could never have imagined. She paused, her gaze sweeping the room. We did not seek this role. We did not ask to be the spark that ignited a galactic revolution. But now that we find ourselves here, we will not shy away from the responsibility. The road ahead will not be easy. The Empire, though wounded, is far from defeated. There are those who would seek to take its place, to impose their will on the galaxy through force. We must be vigilant, we must be strong, but above all, we must be united. But let us not focus solely on the threats we face, for in coming together, we have already achieved something remarkable. We have proven that the diversity of our species is not a weakness, but our greatest strength. Each of us brings unique perspectives, unique abilities to the table. And together, there is no challenge we cannot overcome. Humanity pledges to stand with our galactic neighbors, not as conquerors or saviors, but as partners. We will share our knowledge, our resources, and yes, if necessary, our strength in battle. But we will also learn from you, grow with you, and together build a future that none of us could have achieved alone. The Empire sought to divide us, to conquer through fear and intimidation. Let our answer be one of unity, of mutual respect and cooperation. For it is not the size of our fleets or the power of our weapons that will determine the future of our galaxy. It is the strength of our convictions, the depth of our compassion, and our unwavering commitment to freedom and justice for all sentient beings. The road ahead may be long, but I have faith that together we will forge a new galactic order. One built not on domination, but on cooperation. Not on fear, but on hope. This is humanity's pledge to you, our galactic brothers and sisters. Let us write the next chapter of our shared history together. As Chen finished her speech, the assembly hall erupted in applause. Species that had been bitter enemies just months ago were now standing side by side, united in their vision for a better future. In that moment, Chen felt a profound sense of pride, not just in humanity, but in the collective potential of all the beings gathered here. They had faced the greatest threat in galactic history and emerged stronger for it. The future was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But as Chen looked out at the sea of diverse faces, she knew one thing for certain. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The age of isolation was over. The age of galactic cooperation had begun. And humanity, the unlikeliest of species, was leading the way.